Kitover showed up in the chamber at some point and asked a question like the other senators did. Good point. That's the way that you support, to give Corey some time to rest. That's how you support. And every time you ask Bernie Sanders about Black people, he talks about the fact that he marched with Martin Luther King. He thinks that gives him protection for the rest of his life. I'm so sick of Bernie Sanders.
I mean, the woman, she's not saying anything that we have talked about Bernie Sanders in this room extensively. I share my story. I really believed in Bernie, and I supported his left-wing politics, and I was like, yeah, I'm down for revolution. And
this is the comedy. What do you mean? And, you're listening to the comedians.
There were a couple of Black people that
you're talking about. Where's the comedy?
We went to the same conferences together, and we weren't like the best of friends, but we definitely. I had a couple of them on my panel and stuff like that, and so we got to know each other, and I was excited when I found out that they were working on Bernie Sanders' campaign. And when he ran, my mom had just passed away, and they called me and was like, are you willing to move to Vermont? And I was like, yeah. Now, so I was happy to do it. Like, I was excited. Now they didn't end up. They did call me and ask me that, but then they didn't end up actually bringing me on board. But I was like deeply invested in, well, they kept saying that they would, so that's another thing. But I was deeply invested in the campaign and was like supporting. And then the more and more we talked about strategy, and I was talking to my Black friends that were working on the campaign, and, full disclosure, one of them said, and you'll understand the importance of this, one of them said, don't worry about it. Like, we got a plan. We're going to, Black people don't really know Bernie Sanders like that. So, we have a plan to like really introduce him to the Black community because, a lot of his politics, Black people talk about, they're aligned with, and so on and so forth. And he had a full HBCU program. No, I'm sorry. The Black man, the strategist, had a full HBCU program.
It's an effective gaslight tool.
And so they started, and the plan was like, lay out that program and do it. And so the first stop was Morehouse. And y'all could look this up, So first stop was Morehouse, to introduce Bernie Sanders and so on and so forth. And then there was no other school.
We've got 14 people live on this
YouTube channel. Hit what's going on? Because it did seem like, Bernie Sanders, it seemed like the rollout,
vote Kitover, Congressman,
it seemed like it was generally what you all wanted.
Button now.
And then he started complaining about Bernie's number 2. And everybody really believed in Bernie, so it was like, well, of course it's Bernie's number 2. And I definitely heard, the word racist, it was just seemed like everybody was making excuses, self-included, for Bernie, like, oh, it's not Bernie, it's just his number 2. It's his campaign manager, making all these decisions. And slowly but surely we saw like, Black people weren't getting hired for his campaign. The HBCU program seemed to start off fine at Morehouse, then it didn't continue, and it just went on and on. And I finally asked, the brother man a question, and I said, well,
I don't think they want turkey, and I don't think they want
I hear what you're saying, that it's not Bernie, it's his number 2. But, at some point, don't you have to make a decision for your own campaign? Bernie is not like he hasn't been in office. He's run, before. He runs in general, right, just for re-election in Vermont. And I understand Vermont is not like the rest of the United States. So I just started asking him that question.